How's it hanging, YouTube? Peter here, your Ginger Jory Geek. Welcome back to the channel for a bit of a special unboxing tonight. So thank you very much to everybody that's joining me. Tonight, we are going to get into looking at my X-Men #1, which I picked up a little while ago. So thank you very much for joining, for saying that. I don't know what the grade is, so it's going to be a bit interesting. I'll either burst into tears or I'll be cock a hoop. So we'll just have to see how it goes. Before we get into that, just want to quickly jump into the chat. And before we move on, I do promise I'm not going to keep you long tonight. Probably about half an hour at the most. But we'll just see who we've got in the chat. As usual, we've got good old StreamYard. Thank you very much for joining. We have got Dr. Von Hoot. Thank you very much. We've got Deadman, my good friend Deadman. Thank you for joining, bud. We've got Jack. Thank you for joining. And we've got Ian Carter. Always a pleasure, Ian. We've also got good old Fuzzy Dunlop. Thank you for joining. Fuzzy, those images you put on screen tonight of your Turtles figures were absolutely stunning. Those Monsters Turtle figures weren't really on my radar, but after seeing your images, I'm thinking I might have to pick them up because they looked absolutely amazing. We've got Luke from Hydra Collectibles. A little bit more about Luke in a bit because I'm going to be spending some time with him later on tonight. We've got Ed. Thank you for joining, Ed. And we've got Pat Bear. Thank you for joining, mate. And we've got good old GP Venom. Thank you for joining, GP. Okay, guys, before we'll get into the main book, just humorous for a little bit, I just want to quickly touch on a few other things that I've been reading this week. And I want to start off with this. So this is The Immortal Hulk. This is volume 4. So this is the end of the Immortal Hulk run. Covers up, I think it's 41 to 50. Reason I'm pointing this out is because we did a great show over on GP Venom's channel last night where we reviewed part 1 of this. So please do go and check that out. It's a really, really interesting read. It's great fun. So read that. Now, I'd be interested to know in the comments who's read this, because I found it confusing as all shit. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I enjoyed it. I liked the story. But it was a little bit complicated near the end for my little simplistic brain. So let us know in the comments if you've read that and what you thought of it. Next book I want to mention is a hard book to get a hold of, but it is The Standard by John Lee. So this is John Lee, who's one of my favorite writers, as anyone that watches the channel will know. This guy does some phenomenal work. Sync is one of my favorite books around. And this is actually his first published superhero work. And it's an amazing read. Well worth reading if you can get a hold of it. This has the complete series in it. It's only about 5 issues. And it's a real nice kind of callback to old superhero antics, mixed in with the usual John Lee's horror. So do check that one out. It's well worth a read if you can find it. Just quickly jump back in. We've got Greyman. Thank you very much for joining, bud. We've got Paul. Again, thank you for joining. Yeah, we're going to get onto the book in a bit, so just bear with us for a little bit. I also picked up these. Now, I'm shit. I know I am. I said ages ago I wasn't going to go for the whole variant covers and stuff, and I was just going to focus on what I like in terms of first appearances and stuff. And then I picked this up. So this is Darth Vader, black, white, and red. It's a stunning cover, as you can see. The story itself, utter shit. It's crap. It's I read it a couple of weeks ago. The Peach Momoko. Again, I don't know if I'm just thick, but I don't know what the hell's going on in it. Anyway, I picked up 2 of them because I'm very sad. But yeah, that's a nice cover. Now, this is an amazing read. So I really recommend people get on this. This is called Something Epic. It's a really, really fun read. Really enjoyed it. It's about a young lad who basically can see everything that we imagine. So he sees all the imagination that we have. Really, really cool. Yeah, it's got lots and lots of very, very sexy alternate covers. So I picked that one up, which is the standard. I picked that one up, which is a bit of a Mario kind of vibe going on there, which I really like. I've got a one coming from America, which is Lost in the Post, which is The Mandalorian. So that's nice. I picked up this, which is a retailer exclusive, which again is very, very cool. I love it. And then, oh, I love it. I picked up this. Get to the chopper, John. Anyway, this is a bit of a Terminator 2. He doesn't say get to the chopper in Terminator 2. Don't know how I said that. Anyway, this is a Terminator 2 homage. So love that one. That one is very cool. So they're just a few books that I've picked up recently. Let us know in the comments what you think of Something Epic, because I'm thinking it's absolutely brilliant. Okay, quickly jump back to see what people are saying. Edvic, yeah, the cover is lovely, but you're right, the story is rubbish. Yeah, man, I couldn't get my head around it. I didn't know what the hell was going on. Fuzzy, look how busy it is when you just fly. Fuzzy, I actually made the conscious decision to go solo tonight. I've never done a solo show, live show. So I know I ask a lot of my colleagues, particularly people like James T. Keegan. So I decided to go alone tonight. So if it's shit, it's my fault. It's on my head. Something epic, something brilliant. Yeah, Fuzzy, I think it's an amazing story, bud. Something epic was good. Got the Tony Daniels cover myself. Yeah, very nice. I like that one as well. Haven't got that one yet. Pete goes down another rabbit hole. Absolutely, mate. Mrs. Von Hoot, hi, Pete. Hope you get the grade you want. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's get on with it because we've got lots to quickly catch up on before we move on to our next show, really. So, those of you that know my channel know that I picked up this X-Men 1 last year sometime. And there are a couple of videos out there if you want to check those out. There's a live show where I kind of showed it off for the first time, and then I did a little video about it. So if you want to go and see the backstory, you can go and do that. Now, I've hummed and hawed about whether I get it graded or not. It's a stunning book. It is, for me, it's a mega grail, and I wasn't quite sure whether to send it off or not. And then actually the costs involved were astronomical, and we're going to touch on that in a little bit before I show you the actual book. So yeah, it's a huge book for me. Why is it so important? Well, it's the X-Men, isn't it? I absolutely adore the X-Men. Some of my favorite characters of all time. I think the backstory to them is amazing, and it's got a bit of a personal place in my heart. Not to get all soppy, but when I was younger, obviously, I wasn't the sexy beast you see before you. I was a ginger-haired fat lad with NHS specs. So I got picked on a fair bit at school. Now, I'm not saying that that's in any relation to that my experience is anything like the X-Men or the persecution they have, but it certainly kind of rung a bell in terms of that feeling of not belonging and being kind of outcast a little bit. So for that reason, the X-Men had a real kind of important place in my heart. Also, it's one of the first comics I think I read. I cannot really remember the first ever comic book that I picked up and read, but I do know I had this. And this is the UK kind of reprint of X-Men #1, the original X-Men, with an absolutely amazing cover. And it came with a free gift. It came with a free spinner gun, which I remember having. So I picked this up at the local newsagent and fell in love with it. I'm on the hunt for this book, by the way, if anybody has a copy. But I, like most of my UK issues, I will want the free gift on it. But if anyone knows where there is a copy of this, do let us know. And I fell in love with the characters very, very early on. And I really had an affinity to Cyclops. Cyclops was one of my favorite characters. And I'm interested in the chat. Let us know who your favorite character is from the X-Men. And I just thought they were amazing. This first issue obviously introduces all of the X-Men, or the original X-team of X-Men, including Professor X. And we also get the introduction of Magneto, who in my mind is probably one of the best Marvel villains when he's a villain. I don't buy into this whole turn him into a good guy and all that kind of jazz. So for me, Magneto is one of my favorite villains, and this Alex Ross artwork of him is just absolutely stunning. So yeah, real big fan of the X-Men. Love the original stories and all the rest of it. Current X-Men, dog shit. Don't read it. It's absolute rubbish. I lost the plot when we did X of Swords, and I've dipped in and out ever since trying to get my head around it. It's just, for me, it's just not good. I'm sure some people enjoy it, but for me, it's just not floating me boat. Okay, guys, just quickly jumping back into the chat. Paul, I remember reading this run, great comic. Yeah, mate, a lot of the UK comics are really nice and had some original artwork on the covers as well. If you want to know more about that, head over to my friend Luke's channel, Hydra Collectibles. He does a great show called Making Sense of Pence, where we talk all about these kind of books. So please check that out. Deadman, the Beast, yeah, but mate, what they're doing with the Beast at the moment is diabolical. Yeah, it's not working for me at all. But the original Beast, and certainly the Blue Beast, the Demon Beast, particularly when he was with Simon Williams' Wonder Man, I loved that kind of storytelling. At the moment, not so good, I'm afraid. Hydra Collectibles is saying, I agree, Magneto needs to be a villain, absolutely. And I think the X-Men movies did that really well, look, when they had kind of, they showed those different ideologies between Professor X and Magneto. I thought that was really cool. Hey-o, we've got James T. Thank you very much for joining, James. Appreciate you dialing in. I know you spend some time with your girlfriend, so thank you for joining. We've got Grey Man saying Cyclops was my favourite, and as I was always bullied for my big googly eyes and wished I could fire laser blasts out of them as well. Yeah, absolutely, bud. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I really like Cyclops, but I prefer this version of him. You know, there's a reason his nickname was Slim. And now in some of the modern comics, he's almost like Captain America beefed up levels. And I'm not so keen on that. I like the team leader kind of nerdy aspect of him, I guess. Pat Bear, Marvel Girl and the Beast, the rest of the original team was lame as shit. What do you mean? How dare you? You've got a snowman. What more do you want? Do you know what I mean? In those original issues, he was literally a friggin' snowman. It was superb. And Jack, Nightcrawler and Havoc are your favourites. Yeah, tremendous. Yeah, Nightcrawler is one of my favourite characters of all time. Don't read it now. Yeah, the modern run's not the best, bud. Okay, moving on. So this is the book I picked up. Like I say, go check out the video. Long story, drove all the way down to Glastonbury to get it, which was an exceptionally long drive from here in Newcastle. And picked it up. As you can see, it's not the best condition, but it's an X-Men one. I'm not rich. I'm not going to be able to afford a high grade, so I've always decided that the whatever grade I could get of this book would do us. But as you can see there from the images, it's got awful spine roll. It has got some chunks out of it. So the top corner there next to Cyclops' head, it's missing a bit there. It did have all the pages, I think, intact, and there wasn't any loose pages or anything like that. But you can see it's not in good nick, to be fair. The pages inside were pretty clean. So the artwork still stood out, but you can see on the edges of the book there's a lot of kind of chipping and things like that. And in the center pages, as you can see, you can see that there's a lot of, I'm sorry, I was slightly distracted there. Grey Man has obviously been videoing us. I did dance naked around Stonehenge, mate. I did. So yeah, you can see that the staples internally are rusted, which is a big issue, obviously, for older comics. So slightly worried about that. So CGC. I hummed and hawed about getting it to CGC to be graded. Not because I was particularly interested in the grade, more to preserve the book itself, because every time I looked at it and touched it, I felt like it was going to explode. And I said explode in my hands, that would have been rude. I felt like bits were going to fall off it and stuff. And in fact, even getting it in and out of the comic bag, there was always little bits of chipping starting to fall off. So like I say, I wanted to grade it to protect it more than anything. Now I hummed and hawed because I was going to the States. I thought I would stick it on the plane and go with us. But I decided against that because I was scared it would get damaged in the luggage. I looked at shipping it to America myself, and the insurance for an expensive comic was eye-watering. So I decided against that as well. James just saying hit the like button. Yes, please do, ladies and gents, and also subscribe to the channel. Grey Man, mentioned that one. I'm curious to see if the lady at Celebration did any damage. Giggity, yeah. Thanks for joining, Charlie. Did you not consider getting it pressed, etc.? Grey Man, that's a whole other story, and I'm going to do a video on that. But just to kind of jump in, I did consider getting it pressed, and then my gut was I didn't want to take the risk because it was in fragile condition, and I was really concerned that would damage it. But I might regret that. We'll have to see. So anyway, I'd kind of resigned myself to the fact that I wasn't going to get it graded, and then lo and behold, I was going to Star Wars Celebration with some of my friends from YouTube, and CGC were going to be at Celebration. Couldn't get my head around that. I didn't really think that would be somewhere CGC went, but they were. So I arranged to drop it off at the CGC booth. Now, this was the most terrifying experience I've had for a long time. I had a very, very expensive comic in my bag, so I was paranoid I was going to get mugged or something. Got to the CGC booth and handed it an X-Men 1, from 1963 to the lady behind the counter, and she just kind of tossed it on the floor next to her and said, fill in the paperwork. She had no interest at all in what the book was, and I nearly shit myself when she threw it down. The guy next to her clocked that it was an X-Men one and nearly jumped out of his skin and kind of picked it up and said, man, I wasn't expecting to see one of these today. So it kind of alarmed us a little bit about the people who work at CGC in terms of their knowledge and understanding of the comics, because she had no idea what it was. Anyway, got it handed into CGC and they took control of it and shipped it over to America. Now, turnaround times are interesting. So this has to go down as an unlimited value book because of the price of it, which basically means you get charged, instead of your kind of your standard fee, you get charged a minimum of £150 or 4.8% of fair market value. Excuse me. And what we've got on screen there are the two different versions. You've got the American version and the UK version. The reason I put that up is because I didn't realize that. So if you look at the unlimited value from America, the current turnaround time is 2 working days. So from receiving the book, it takes them 2 days to grade it, and then they post it back to you. So the 2 days doesn't include the grading time, sorry, the postage time. 2 days. Now, I started to get twitched when I hadn't heard anything for a couple of weeks. So I contacted them and said, oh, it's because you've sent from the UK. So the UK turnaround time is 45 days. I can't get my head around that. So I'm not quite sure why there's a difference there, because that 45, unless the 45 days includes the delivery in one and not on the other. I don't know. Anyway, bottom line is the book took 33 working days from me handing it into them to us receiving it back. Now, I think that's pretty good. I'm not going to grumble about that with CGC. I think that's not bad at all. Just again, quickly jumping into the chat. Grey Man, I couldn't just hand a big comic to some random people at the con. Absolutely, mate. It terrified us. It really did, because I was panicking about it. But I had no other options really to get it there. My original plan was that I was going down the day before the convention and I'd booked a slot at CGC headquarters. And that sounds very grand. It's probably just an office. I booked a slot and I was literally going to walk into their building and hand it over. But they messaged us a few days beforehand and said, actually, we're at a big con, so we'll not be open. You can't do that. And then I said, well, what con is it? And they said, well, it's Star Wars Celebration. So I was like, oh, well. So that's what we went, went with. GP sounds a bit dodgy. Yeah, the lady was very dodgy. I wasn't very happy with her. Grey Man, one day I'm going to set up a store with all the CGC looking stand posters and see what free comics I can get. yeah, that would be a good plan. James, how much did the grading cost in the end? Well, James, it's funny you should ask. So I'm going to be very transparent, ladies and gents. Like I said, please don't judge us. I am not a rich man. I'm a nurse, so I'm not massively well paid. But I have been collecting since I was 13. So the reason I can afford things like this is I sell stuff from my collection. And I've sold a lot of books lately. So the actual comic itself cost us £5,000. That's how much I paid for it a year and a half ago. The grading cost £150 for encapsulation, £10.83 for the handling fee because they touch the book. And then on top of that, you've got your shipping and handling by FedEx to get back to us, which is £43.20. So when I joined CGC, you get £120 credit. So that's automatically taken off the bill. So to grade the book in total, it costs us £84.03. So in total, this book has cost us so far £5,000 £5,084 pound. You know what I mean? Anyway, so that's how much it's cost to get this book graded. Now, it's a bit of a shitter, isn't it? So we all know that the books over the last year have dropped in value considerably. So is this book worth what I've paid for it? It's probably doubtful at this point, because there's been a massive change, I think, in comic value, as we expected post-COVID. Might it go up? Who knows? Might go down? Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. Grey Man, matron. I used to be a matron, yeah, and I got that all the time. So yeah, thank you for that. James, it's actually significantly cheaper than I was expecting. Yeah, me too, James, to be honest. I thought it was going to be a lot more than that. For a book of this value, you know what I mean? And I was honest in terms of quoting the value and all the rest of it. So yeah, I was quite, and in fact, what I'd say is I joined CGC to get this particular book sent off, but I've actually just sent off 20 more books to CGC because actually when I looked at it, the pricing wasn't as bad as I thought it was, for modern books in particular. So yeah, that's not bad. I think you're right, Luke. Price boosts again when they hit the MCU. I would hope so. The books you sold to get it would have gone up as well, though. So you get it. Yeah, absolutely, bud. Absolutely. That's actually a decent price. Yeah, I think so, Jack. I mean, I was happy with it at the time. Like I say, in terms of the grade, I'm not going to lie. I'd love a 9.8, but that's never happening. You know what I mean? But in terms of the grade, I just want this book in any grade. But there's a caveat to that, which we'll talk about in a minute. In terms of the pricing, these are the current sold prices. You can see for various grades of the books. 1.0 going for 3,219 there, and the 1.5, 3,800. Now, for sale, you've got a 3.0 at 8,000, which seems a bit dramatic to me, and you've got a 2.0 for sale for £5,662 there. Now, the grade itself, the guy quoted me a 2.5. I have to say, when I looked at it, and I'm no grader, but when I looked at it, I was doubtful because, as you've just seen in the images, it was pretty rough. And I sent it to a few guys I know who are good at grading, and they said a 2.5 is possible, but it's rough. It could be anything from a 1 up to a 3. So it really is a bit random at the moment in terms of what we might get here. Just again, jumping into the chat, we've got Jason. Nice to see you, Jason. Jason, we need to get you on screen again, mate. I'm missing you. I'm missing your humour, so I need to do a show with you, bud. Darren, nice to see you, bud. Grey Man is predicting 2.0. I'd be happy with a 2.0, Grey. Jack, 2.0. Yeah. James, 3.0. Oh, James, I would, yeah, Christ. GP, 1.5. Yeah. Deadman, 3.0. Luke, I figure 2.0, but pound-wise, I think you get a 3. Yeah. Ian, 2.0. Sean, any grade. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And Jason's saying a 2.5. Yeah. So like I say, the guy sold it at a 2.5. What will I be happy with? I'll be happy with any grade as long as it's not a feckin' green label. So I don't. If you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that my overall key book has always been A Journey into Mystery 83, First Appearance of Thor, and I got that and sent it off a while ago. And I was devastated when it came back with this grey banner, which I'd never seen before, which is a conserved grey banner, which basically means CGC thinks at some point they've cleaned the staples or something. Now, for most books, that doesn't particularly bother us, but in terms of the price I've paid for this book, if it comes back as a conserved or if it comes back as a green, I will be upset. There's no lying there. In terms of the grade itself, I'll take anything from a 1 up, to be perfectly frank, because this is a book that, and I know people say it, but I really do mean it. This is a book that is going to stay in my collection. This isn't a resale book or anything like that, unless I upgrade. This is a book that's for my personal kind of collection. So yeah, Sean's saying any grade. Jason is saying 2.5. Andy, I'm just praying for no pubes, to be honest. I don't mind a few pubes, but yeah, not in my books, mind. Grey Man, I thought Von Hoot was Jason Parker in a mask. Yeah, you're probably right. Just to have this book's awesome. Yeah, I agree. Also, thank you for your services in this. Thank you very much, bud. I appreciate that. Any blue label will be fine, and no presence in it, like Andy says. Absolutely, Ed. Absolutely. I completely agree. Okay, so let's get on with it. Let's stop the chatter. So this is the box that it's come in. Let's get myself big. There we are. As you can see, I haven't opened it at all. You can check the grade on the app, I believe, but I haven't done that because I wanted it to be a surprise, rightfully or wrongly. So yeah, I will literally burst into tears, mind, if this is a green label. So you have been warned, or if it's a cracked slab or something like that. Okay, got lots of bubble wrap. Oh! Okay, so this is it. Now, I should have probably prepped this and taken some tape and stuff off, but I haven't. So there you are. Just talk amongst yourselves. Okay. Okay, I can't see the grade, but what I can tell you is it's a blue label. Thank fuck for that. So that's get in. Okay, and we have got get in 2.0 blue label. I'm happy with that. So there we are, guys. That's a 2.0 X-Men 1. Very blue label, yeah, Ed. I've got a bit of sellotape in my teeth. Yeah, I am very, very happy with that. Yeah. Origin of first appearance of the X-Men, Professor X, Cyclops, Iceman, Angel, Beast, Marvel Girl, and Magneto. I should have mentioned this is a Pence copy. I don't mind that at all. And you can see on the back there, it is a dirty book. So there's a few issues with it. But yeah, I am chuffed to bits with that. Thank fuck for that. If that had been a green label, I would have had to have gone back and told my wife that I've wasted an awful lot of money. And that's not worth doing because she would just cut me balls off. So yeah, I am absolutely chuffed to bits with that, guys. I don't see any pubic hair or bits of plastic. The case looks good. Yeah. Happy ginger freak. Love it. Okay, so just quickly jumping back into the chat. I've got a bit of sellotape in my tooth. So we've got we'll make a cracking shot if it's agreed. Hashtag content, yeah. Fingers crossed. Thanks very much, mate. James is moist with anticipation. Nice. Genuinely so exciting. Yeah, thank you. Woohoo! We've got blue. Absolutely, Luke. I mean, and Luke, I know you're a big champion of getting any kind of book as it comes, but and I am normally, but in terms of the money paid for this, if it had been anything but blue, I think I would have been very, very upset. Ed, yeah. Austin, nice to see you, bud. Thank you very much. Thank you. We're just opening an X-Men #1 at Austin that I've had sent off to CGC. So yeah, very pleased with that. And we've got lots of positive comments. So thank you very much, everybody. I really do appreciate all of your comments. Okay, guys. So just want to do a quick one. We've got another show in a bit. So just quickly to run through some bits and bobs that are happening on the channel. First of all, at 8 o'clock, we're doing 2 live shows tonight. What the fuck? At 8 o'clock, we're doing This Is My with Luke. So Hydra Collectibles, that's at 8 o'clock. So you've got half an hour to get yourselves a cup of tea. So looking forward to that. I want to give a big shout out, as I always do, to the UK comic community. We've got This Week in Metropolis on a Tuesday night. Their show this week was really interesting. It was about a guy who does Lego displays and things like that. And so that was interesting. Wednesday night, we've got the Nerd Herd. They're doing Relentless this week, I think. We've got the Killer Comic Show on Thursday, touching that in a second. And we've got Grey Man. I always say Grey Man's got his live show on a Saturday, which he does, Cover Slingers, but he also does a whole host of other live shows as well now. So do please go and check out Grey Man's channel because he does an awful lot of good content. Killer Comic Show, the guys are back. They're back tomorrow night. They've got a hell of a show planned for you. There's going to be some surprises and potentially some giveaways. So please do make sure you check that out tomorrow night. It should be a good show. I'm guest starring on Only Slabs on Saturday night over on the Rob Fat Stacks' channel, where basically I'll be showing off 20 or 30 of my slabs. So looking forward to that. Saturday straight after that, again, we're doing 2 lives that night. We're going to be doing my Saturday night hangout, as I usually do with my friends. And then we are going to be giving away some of these cards. So I did a video a while ago about these hero cards. I've opened my pack and they're full in there. Now I've received today 2 more boxes of 24 packs of cards in each box. So I'm going to open the boxes up, put the packs into little packets of 5, and then give them away to subscribers on Saturday night. So if you want some free cards, 5 packs, make sure you watch that show. And then Monday night, we've got Let's Talk Toys, where we'll be covering all of the computer gaming, video gaming, 6 scale and smaller scale figures. And that's your whack. Okay. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. We've had a lot of people watching tonight, more than my usual shows, so I really do appreciate your support. Grey Man, I think you might be right. I'm going to have to go and report the show with Luke. It is stringy. Andy, according to Charlie, you are, mate. According to Charlie. Let's get on that. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Really do appreciate you watching. I'm over the moon with that. The only thing, and I will do a video of this, is one of Grey Man's comments earlier on. Would I have gotten the 2.5 if I had it pressed? Fuck. Don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.